In the nature and power of Allah, the master of spiritual insight and perceiver of all truths, I rise to give praise to Allah, and I give honor to His holy and illustrious prophet, Noble Jew Ali, the savior of humanity and the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Brother Polight.
Peace, King.
Yo, we still ain't get past that citizenship demo, so...
Yeah, we'll talk about that later if you don't. Unless you want me still continue.
This is that 3 minute right quick. Yeah, we'll do it, whatever. Let's go through that. I
remember this is your program, so you had to get me, but we can follow that up.
Now I'm saying, yeah. We could do it. We could do everything in less than 4 minutes. Let's do it all.
Not how our minds work. You know that. Go ahead, whichever one you want. Okay, are you a citizen subject?
Now I'm just a citizen.
Okay, what makes you a citizen, my brother?
What makes me a citizen?
Yes, sir.
In what aspect? What do you mean? What makes me a citizen?
What are you a citizen of?
I'm a citizen of the United States of America.
Under what pretense codifies the actuality that you are a citizen?
Codified? You want the codified law of reference for my citizenship?
That's right.
The United States Constitution is codified in the United States Code, and I do not know what section of the law my citizenship is codified.
Alright, cool. So, in addition to that, what do you say to somebody that brings up Dred Scott and say that we are not citizens?
Who is we? It says, what people does it say that are not citizens? The descendants of...
Well, you, my brother, who much of the laity of our community will call you a black man, which contrary to your disposition, I know you wouldn't conceptualize such. However, your community of the more learnt amongst the laity will suggest that we are not citizens, and they will reference the Dred Scott case that has yet to be overturned. So what would you say to them when their stance would be, my brother, you can't be a citizen, or you are not a citizen of America? How would you clean that up?
Yeah, I would say that the Dred Scott,
that
the language in the Dred Scott case that was being used was explicit, and it was to be comprehended that it was the Negroes. The Negroes or the darker races of Africa who had been slaves or had been held to slavery or servitude. Now, there were free people at the time, especially here on the continent, who that didn't apply to. So that didn't apply to people known as Egyptians.
Who were the free people?
Like you saying, yo, I'm not black, I'm Kemetic or whatever, and you saying you give a reference to Egypt, and you're like, oh, he's Egyptian, he's not a Negro. Same way they would look at me as, oh, he's a Moor, he's not a Negro.
So is Negro something used by default of one who doesn't claim or assert their nationality?
Negro is a presumptive default. Yeah, it's presumptive, but a person cannot be a Negro, black or colored, only considered as such. And by being considered as such, you can be treated as such. So a person being considered as a Negro can be treated as a Negro, but as soon as I proclaim or put on public notice, my status is, or status being the status is the authority or the authority that I have, or the capacity to act. And so my capacity to act would be that of a citizen, being Moorish American, my nationality being applied to this country, as opposed to, one who doesn't have an organized jural society, people who can get together, sit down, actually find a solution, and then act on it. The Negroes don't have.
So the Moors have an organized jural society?
Yes.
Is it safe to assume that?
Yes, yes, we do.
Preemptively, what does the Moorish Science Temple provide and or facilitate in the event that I may be held in a state of political duress, particularly in the case of incarceration?
That's a beautiful question. That is, each individual temple has its own laws and customs, but of course it has its own energy and it's going to have its own membership. So now, if our membership here in New York, say is in let's say it's in the membership is 300, it would be nice to have 100 people in the courtroom while that'd be. But then again, with a membership of 300 and the quality of characters that we are bringing up and raising up and teaching government principles, we would eventually want one of our own to be placed in a political position, whereas we wouldn't need to bring 200 people out of what they're doing. One phone call to get you the political relief that you require.
I agree. So do you think, to some extent, this being tried by a jury of your peers concept is either one contradictory or something that's in the near future, in
Well,
the scope of the near
Well, if there was
future?
a temple here in Harlem, you know what I'm saying, with 200 members, and a Moorish American, something happened to a Moorish American, you know, he got to go to trial for whatever, grand jury. Grand jury proceedings, his peers are going to be people in the village. You're not going to get people from the Bronx. You're not going to get people from Long Island in your jury. You're going to get people from Manhattan. So when people are getting picked out randomly, like your attorney, especially if it's one of us, we're gonna be like, yo, look, this jury is crazy. You don't even have, you got Irish American, Scottish American. There's no Moorish Americans. This is America. Look, matter of fact, is this a discriminatory? And we could go all over the place with that too, where it might not even get the trial a lot of the time, because you're not gonna put a Moorish, and then what? You gonna have two people that we know that, you know, for example, this brother isn't guilty of a possession of a firearm, let's say. If we know it wasn't a firearm by law, it was a gun.
So how do we get the Moors to be part of the selection for the jury?
Oh, you're part of the jury once you register to vote. According to my knowledge, if I'm correct,
out of all the people that they select or elect to have them become one of whom may be part of the jury process, how do the Moors find themselves within that pool of people that get selected? Is it not random? Are they not randomly picking who's going to be the jury?
I mean, they say it's random. You know, I'm certain it's computerized. And because it's computerized, then that means it's relying on mathematics. Being that it's relying on mathematics, the only, you know, the strength that we possess comes in unity, which is one of the core tenets of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And that unity has to come with a acknowledgement in the greater peoples that, you know, we aren't beasts, we aren't slaves. No matter how you want it, we could say either 600, 1600 years or 60 years of slavery. No matter how much of slavery, we don't come from slaves. We had a period of slavery. We don't come from slaves. We come from this. This is how we can apply it. And so here in New York, you know, especially Manhattan, the Moorish, I'm registered voter here in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I could get called for jury. I'm a citizen. You know what I'm saying? But now, if I'm not a citizen, I can't get called for jury, and I'm talking about I'm Moorish American or I'm Kemetic or I'm an Israelite or whatever. All I'm doing is lip service, because when it comes for the political relief for one of our brothers, I'm inept because I don't have the status or the capacity to act in politics.
I got you. But how can we ensure that the odds work to our favor? How can we eliminate the odds of us not being part of the actual jury pool? Or that is a work in progress?
Well, we would want to be part of the jury pool because we part and parcel of the said government. So if something happens to you,
can you petition to be part of a specific jury pool, or is it something that's a work in progress that one day we still figuring it out?
I mean, you know what? And now, here's what I'm going to say. Scottish Americans and Irish Americans, they'll say, yo, we need a certain part, you know, we need our own jury pool. But you know what does do that? Jewish Americans. And once again, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the way that it was in its conception and then the way it was incorporated, we can apply certain things such as having we have our own body politic. So of course we can have our own court system. We can have a unified court system in New York, so whereas if you have a problem in the New York courts, we can have that removed to a Moorish American court. We'll have they judge and our judge sit there and figure it out what's going on. But we don't do that, because if you're saying you're black, he's saying he's Kemetic, and I'm saying I'm Moorish, but then only one of us has actual political status in the government and everybody else is just saying stuff to feel good, everybody's going, I'm going to be alone when they call me up.
So how much more people do the Moors need before this plan can be fulfilled? Because oftentimes when we speak to the Moors, in one right, they got their stuff together, and I understand they do. And then another right is because of brothers and sisters who go on by all these other pseudo-nationalities, as I would say, right? It's because of them why the Moors are inept or hindered. So how much more people do the Moors need until this plan can properly be facilitated? As it appears, they don't have enough. When
we say the Moors, you know, colloquially speaking, right. So as far as the Moorish Science Temple of America, one of our greatest, deficits lies in our unity with the rest of our people. You don't see you don't see Moors where the Comedics are or where the Israelites are.
Yeah. We need that.
So it's time for us.
I see you making it happen though.
Yeah, I mean,
You bridging the gap though. I see that.
I can.
Nah, you doing a good job. It's important. Every time you show your face, you represent, you remind people that your causes and presence. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I oftentimes said that to the Wapian brothers.
Yeah.
Even the Nation of the Gods and Earths. Sometimes we get so enwrapped in the idiosyncrasies, the nuances, and the mysteries of our own knowledge.
Right.
That we sometimes segment ourselves, or it incurs what's called individuation. And we stop seeing the whole and the promise of what it means to represent for the whole to get together. So I don't have a concept that everybody's gonna follow the same thing.
Right.
But I feel that we have to challenge the leadership, or we just need to incite the resurrection of new leadership. And the reason why I say that is because if we get to the leaders, we're gonna get to the people. Right. But if the leaders don't listen, then we have to start creating our own rendition of leadership so we can respond to each other. You dig?
Right.
Like for instance, I came up in the Nuwapian community. So coming up in the Nuwapian community, there's brothers from other communities Dr. York had drama with, whether they're Israelites or Nation of the Gods and Earths. So when those brothers come at me, but yo, York, this, that, I'm like, fam, I got conscious of the strength of his lessons. That's as far as it goes. I don't worship him, I'm not under him. I don't have blind faith for everything he says it must be true. I have my things I disagree with him on. However, I reserve the right not to express it. Why? I won't lie for him, but I reserve the right as a loyal man when someone raises me up in knowledge. I don't think it's becoming for a man, now that you got knowledge, you start going in on your teacher.
Right.
I don't respect that, and a lot of young cats do that. They get a certain level of knowledge and then they become wiser than their source.
Right.
So I'm not with that, but what I say is this. When the brothers come to me, or the Israelites, I'm building with them, we trying to chop it up, make it happen, they start trying to throw their Dr. York shots. I'm like, God, I'm just telling you, that was the voice of reason that got me on the path. But I'm not limited to exploring other depths of information. Right. I'm multifaceted. The reason why I'm saying this is because oftentimes the biggest thing stopping our community from getting together is because of the trauma, the woes and the afflictions that were suffered by our predecessors banging on each other. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying, even when I was going through it with SETI, I'm like, yo, fam, if Doc also said good things about Dr. York. Dr. Ben. Dr. York said that if not for Dr. Ben, many people wouldn't even know about Egypt here in America.
That's a fact.
Dr. York said that. You know what I'm saying? Our True Roots Right Knowledge series book. But instead, we discussed when he also was mad at Dr. Ben. In statements he said about Dr. Ben when he's mad. So my thing was, yo, you a student of Dr. Ben. I came in as a student of Dr. York. Right. My thing is this. Should we perpetuate the drama that those brothers had? Or should we extend the teachings to the best of our ability, ferret through the truths? If we disagree with something, remove it. And let's deal with the most practical aspect of the information. So for me, my vibrancy has always said, no matter who you come from, like the brothers of Nation, Gods, and Earths, when they come with that, I'm like, yo, you talking to the wrong person. And the reason why I'm saying that is, I can separate myself from the hostility or the rift that was created by the teachers, because I ain't exist during that time. Right. I love some of the teachers of the Father Allah. A lot of it is practical, and I think for the time that it was disseminated, it was most appropriate, and at best, it was a revelation. It was divine. Noble Drew Ali, I rocked with a great deal of the information that he presented. I roll with him. I love it. I don't agree with every single thing. And not what I mean by I don't agree with every single thing, not that he said something wrong. I don't agree that some of the things that he taught we can still apply today based on evolutionary jurisprudence. That's what I'm saying. Like, things change. Things are subject to change. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not that the prophet says something wrong. It's that we also have to contextualize when we enticed by this knowledge, we have to consider the fact that we may have to make modifications in our common customs. We don't want to get so acclimated. We don't want to get so acclimated to an ancient science or older science that we don't realize there's still space for us to add things on. All of our masters that came before us didn't give us everything. They're supposed to be an extension of the teachings, and we can't be afraid to make adjustments, not rewrite the information, but we can't be afraid to extend and or perpetuate the teachings the way we deem it necessary in the day and time in which we live, because they created those cultural paradigms to thrive in the atmosphere that they was embedded into. We are in a different atmosphere today. So in close, I just simply say, you know, I stand on my own with my people. And what I mean by that is, just because I may have gotten enlightenment by somebody, I don't have to be a slave under them or agree with everything they say or do. That's what's hindering our community.